Giacomo Leopardi was born in 1798 in the small town of Recanati, Italy. During the time that Giacomo Leopardi was born, the French Revolution had taken a heavy toll on Europe, dividing the region. While young, his family was affected by the revolution because of the movements that spread throughout Europe, weighing heavily on what his future would hold. Giacomo Leopardi was raised in an aristocratic household by both of his parents. His father, Ronaldo Leopardi, was a knowledgeable man who took liking to the literature world and other forms of writing in this time. His mother, Adelaide Mattei, was also a woman of knowledge, which set a good foundation for Giacomo in this time period. Leopardi's introduction to learning came at an early age, under two private priests. This is the way his parents wanted him to learn, because this is how his father learned to read and write throughout several different languages. To go along with the private tutors Leopardi had, his father had a vast collection of books in his private library, where he loved to spend most of his time. His devotion to learn was so strong that at a young age Leopardi could learn to read Latin, Greek, and Hebrew. It is speculated that through most of Leopardi's childhood, he suffered from a spinal disease called Pott's disease. This is a form of tuberculosis in the spine that can cause back pain and a curvature in the spine. For years, Leopardi secluded himself in his father's library, studying and writing constantly. At the age of 14, he wrote Pompeo and Agerido, Pompeii in Egypt, an anti-Caesarian manifesto, and went on to writing various philosophical works until 1816, which marked a turning point in Leopardi's life, which he called the passage from erudition to the beautiful. Leopardi wrote La Espressamiento della Morte, The Approach of Death, a poem in terza rima, which was heavily influenced by Petrarch and Dante, as well as Nettuno, Hymn to Neptune, and La Remembranze, Memories. After this, Leopardi abandoned other types of work and concentrated on lyric poetry, including his book songs, Canti, and Canzoniere, songbook, as well as many more. Leopardi frequently focuses on the patriotic, idyllic scenes, unrequited love, childhood, and the classical themes and references. By 1817, Leopardi felt like it was the time for him to leave his family and start his own life. By the age of 19, he tried to run away, only to get caught by his father and brought back. From this point on, Leopardi would write that the relationship between himself and the rest of his family was starting to go bad. He was constantly being monitored by everyone in his family, and he would sometimes not be allowed to leave the house unless someone else would escort him. 5 years after attempting to run away from home, in 1822, Leopardi left his home which he grew up in, to stay with his uncle in Rome for only a short time. As he would write, the atmosphere of Rome was disappointing to Leopardi because of the corruption and the way the church was being ran at the time. This is not the Rome Leopardi studied about in the sweaty papers, but instead led him to a misconception of what Rome really was. Regarded by many as the first modern Italian classic poet, Leopardi was additionally praised for his sequence work, with his varied use of dialogue, myth, allegory, and satire. For over 5 years, he stopped writing his lyric poetry so he could concentrate on composing his innovative prose magnum opus called Operette Morali, small moral works. Frederick John Snell, author of the Primer of Italian Literature, commented on Leopardi's style and mastery of language. He opens every little scratch and probes, if he does not poison the wounds of suffering humanity. Yet, in all of this, he is the reverse of the fanatic. He argues dexterously, in the finest of literary styles. As a result of his medical conditions, he was confined to Recanati for a long period of time, but over his lifetime was able to travel to Rome, Florence, Milan, Bologna, and Pisa. In 1837, he died of cholera in Naples.